It's your boy Jamar, back with another video. Back with another banger. Today I'm reviewing Zatima Season 4, Episode 16, titled The Takedown. And this was an okay episode, slightly better than the last week's, but we're still getting into some things. So let's just get right into it, y'all. So the episode starts off where it ended last week with Deja whooping Leslie's ass after she caught Leslie sneaking into the house. So boom, they separate the fight, hold Leslie hostage, and basically Leslie's acting crazy, talking about some, baby, you know it's me, I'm your wife. Basically trying to pretend like she's Fatima, she's sick. So then they discovered a fake baby belly, and instead of Zach like shooting her like he said he was gonna do, he actually just ends up calling the police and she ends up getting arrested. But before that, while the police on the way, he brings Deja to the back so she can finish whooping Leslie's ass. So then Fatima comes home, asks what happens. He's basically saying that they caught Leslie, she's in jail. And then she sees Deja in there. She's like, what's she doing in here? And he basically says to calm down, Deja helped us. And then, she thinks Deja, he gives her 2 months free of rent. And, it is what it is. So then Bryce comes over to get the tea because Angela wants him to come get the tea. And his dumbass actually thought she meant actual tea. So he leaves without getting the tea with his retarded ass. So then, boom, then Fatima's asking what damage did she do, and basically Zach tells her that she did mess up the baby's room. She goes upstairs, and she's devastated that the baby's room is messed up. But Zach's trying to reassure her, it's okay, we're gonna get more stuff. And she's like, no, like she's really tripping. So then Bryce goes back to Angela and tells her that that Zach and Fatima didn't have no tea, and Angela's like, boy, bye, I didn't mean actual tea, I meant get the tea. You feel me? So then Bryce passes Angela her pocketbook so she can call Fatima to ask what happened, but then he sees the EpiPen in there, and basically Angela agrees to throw it out, and she throws it out. So then Angela calls Fatima, and Fatima tells her what happens, and then we jump to a week later. It's a week later, Angela's out the hospital, and Bryce is trying to help her come back home. Fatima's there, Zach is there, and basically they drop them off and they end up leaving. So then during that, Fatima asks, Zach asks Angela and Bryce, is this happening? Are y'all a couple again? They're like, well, we have some things to discuss, but we're going to talk about that a little later. So then they ended up leaving, and yeah. So then Fatima and Angela had their little girl talk, and basically Fatima says like she can't wait for this baby shower, and Angela reveals that she's been helping Zach because Zach, he was going to do a whole like zoo, it was going to be a mess. So then that's what Angela's talking about. Her hair is messed up and she needs to, get her hair done by Belinda. So she tries to call Belinda, and then Fatima's like, girl, Belinda ain't no travel stylist. We better go up to her. So she's like, you're right. So then they agree to go to Belinda's shop. So then Zach is looking at the building, and that him and Bryce and Preston are trying to buy. So then the inspector calls and says he looked Zach up and he don't think it's a legitimate business. So then Bryce, Preston, and Zach come to the conclusion that the guy's clearly racist, and that's why he's doing that. So then Zach's like, we're not even going to cry about it, Preston. You call him since you're white, and he's going to accept you. And Preston was like, I don't even want to do it like that. Zach was just like, we're going to have to do what we have to do, Preston. So then boom, we go to the barbershop, and Nathan, Tony, and Tyrone are there. And basically Nathan is sweeping up, trying to pay, and then he's basically trying to pay back Tyrone for bailing out Tony. And he's basically just like, don't be worried about cutting nobody's hair, just do what you need to do. So then that's when Zach comes by and explains what's going on to the boys about the inspector and all that. And they basically suggest that Zach should sue him, especially if he says yes to Preston, that's enough evidence for him to sue. Zach's like, nah, I ain't gonna sue. I'm just worried about this baby shower and the inspector right now. So then Fatima and Angela arrive at Belinda's shop, and Angela's like, girl, I need an emergency hairdo. She's like, what happened? She's like, well, I just got out of the hospital because of my heart attack. And Belinda's like, what? Because I guess she didn't know. So then we get to the end, and Leslie's in jail with all the prison guards and everything. And then one of the prison guards catches her attention. She grabs his private area and says, I've heard about you. You wanna do something? And he's basically like, I'll get you later. And in my head, I feel like she's about to scheme against the police officer to escape from prison. But that's my theory right there. It was a cool little episode, and that was the end of that episode. And I'll see you guys next week for episode 17 of Zatima.